That's a good one. All right, here we go. Step 5, baby. Boy, I've been busting at the seams waiting for this one.
Esteban, you should turn on your mic too as well.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have you.
Esteban's mic's not on right now. Esteban, you'll have to put on your mic, brother. I don't think he can hear us. That's all good.
Yeah, we're going to get some, while we're getting everything set up, we're just going to get a nice moment just to let everybody join with us. We got some nice surprises. We got some new.
Can everyone see the screen right now?
Yep, looks good. Looks good.
Oh.
So yeah, let's let everybody get in here. Give them a good 2-3 minutes. There we go. And Esteban with our beautiful introduction. Oh, that was beautiful. I love your style. That's exactly what we were looking for. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Welcome, Esteban. Welcome, everybody. So good to see you. We've been missing you, big bunches. Boy, we've been missing you. How are you, my friend?
I'm good.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. That was beautiful. That if I had it my exact way, it just played out perfectly.
Yeah, okay.
So buckle up, get comfy, and we're gonna hit it hard. We got some just new leading edge. We got what's coming up next. We're gonna have a little bit at the end, maybe what your experience has been through this. And so it's just gonna be, I want this step to be, this is where we're coming into alignment. We're gonna go through what we've been through, and then the new. What are we going to do now that we're turned on, tapped in, tuned in, finally loving ourselves again, finally firing on all cylinders? Now what are we going to do? So that's what I'm just so excited about, that because we have been upstream on purpose like crazy. You know, so much is going on, and it's like, this is just a game. You can see everything that you have been going through coming back at you, and you're recognizing it, and it's almost funny. You're like, I caught you. I caught you. And to me, that is just so freeing.
Boom. And we're going to get to that, brother.
Yeah.
Everyone join us here. Take a deep breath. Really connect into this presence that we have here. And as we do on every divine appointment, we will connect each of ourselves to our higher selves through something that we like to call the divine spark. And what happens is I connect to my higher self, you connect to your higher self, and together we connect to source. So everyone, divine spark.
Divine spark.
Divine spark.
We welcome you in, presence, the creator, the unlabelable, because without you, this is just words. These are just sounds. But with you, this is quantum entanglement. This is the revolution of the future. This is everything that we've ever been dreaming of. With you, everything's possible. So we just welcome you so that now the impossible becomes I'm possible.
Amazing. So everyone, thanks again for joining us. Now that you're comfy, you feel that flow, you feel that presence, let's maybe get into what's been happening, what's brought us to this point up until now. Maybe a little bit of a recap of what we've been through and what it means now.
Exactly.
Jeremy, give us a little overview of what's happened.
Well, so this is step 5. All right, so what have we had? This has been epic for everybody. Oh, can you just feel that? I know. Just bear with me. I'm about to explode. So we came from just fear, survival mode, lack mode, fear, suffering. We finally learned how to, with different perspectives and techniques and support and love and guidance, we were able to shine through that. And then we started having to deal with our emotions, our energy in motion, and then our desires and our attachments and everything that just fuels our fire. We learned how to control that. Then we came to the point to where we were just going upstream, and we saw everything, and we just, it wasn't at all like it was. We were just fighting and killing ourselves over nothing. So that's the surrender. We throw our oars over. And then we start going downstream, and we are now with the flow. We're going with the grain of the universe. And it feels so good in that serenity. Step 3. It doesn't matter if some rocks come here and there, if there's a waterfall, the only thing about life is, how are you feeling within this boat? You can be sad, mad, or bad, or you can be happy, excited, adventurous. And that is free will. That's life. Okay, so then while we're in this boat, we're just like, whoa! We're starting to trust. We're starting to love. We're starting to care because of how bad we hurt. I don't like this anymore. There has to be something else. So then we come into step 4, which is self-love. And that's where we're finally awake, and we're just trying to love ourselves again. We've been through so much and we beat ourselves up, and we're just trying to find that thing to make us keep going. And so we begin to love ourselves again. And so that is what begins to open up everything. Love is the connector. So we went through fear, and then suffering, and then the surrender. And then, so what that equals is the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus chakra. Those are, bottom 3 are our animal nature, our old seed. What is it that it takes to bridge the gap? How do we get more than just animals killing and banging and just doing just all that stuff? Love. Love. That's what we've been working on so hard, is the love. And it starts with you. That's the bridge. So as you begin loving yourself more, now we're finally to the point where we're filled up. We're able to start loving others. Now, as we're able to love others, we now have a truth to speak. Now we have value to add. Now we're more than just helpy helpertons doing and sacrificing everything from ourselves, but then yet giving seemingly very little to others. They're like, oh, this is just, they just take it. It means nothing, but it took everything from you. That's that sacrificial love. But unconditional love is where you can actually love them without conditions. You see what they actually need. And then that's how you begin to love them properly. That's how they can see the shine and the hope within you. That's where things start to change. This is where we're at. The alignment, step 5 of spirit, mind, and body. And as a bonus, we always like to go above and beyond, and business. That's the Spiritualpreneur program that we'll touch on. So that's the recap. We went through fear, got control of ourselves. We started loving again. As we loved ourselves, then we can love others. Now we have something to offer. Welcome, everybody. We got our special guest, the Lady Llama. Brody, love you. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody, thank you for being here. So we're going to get right in, and I'm going to give it to you here, Brody. Let's get right into what is step 5. It took all of that to get to now.
Boom. Yeah, what is this step all about? And what you guys have been learning, that the 7th chakra actually correlates with our 7 steps. And right now, the throat chakra, that's all about alignment. It's all about speaking your truth. It's all in that area. And so this step is all about really connecting what is spirit, spirit, mind, body, and business, connecting all those so you can start speaking your truth, producing more results, producing more influence. And can you do that when the fire starts getting sent at you? If someone tells you, oh, your dreams, they're not worth anything, blah, 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 you should stop. Do you just crumble now? Or do you stay in alignment anyways, right? We're going to do that, and we're going to show you guys that process the best way we know how, through some Serenity testimonials from myself, from Amber, from Jeremy, and anyone else that wants to add into them going through that process. And what we're actually going to give you is some actionable steps that you guys can take advantage of and actually start putting into your life right away to start really accomplishing what it is you're going to do with this life. And it starts with, let's understand what this throat chakra is all about. It's the alignment. It is obviously in your throat. That's pretty self-explanatory. And you go into, and if Jeremy, if you want to add into this as well, I'm just going to be reading off the page, but if you want to add more into this, because it is about the self-expression, the community, the spiritual truth.
That is something. I'm glad you did hand it over to me, because something just came to me. It's like, now that you are at this level, what if your words and your thoughts and your actions are now spells and prophecies? I know that's big. I know that gets a little woo-woo. And what do I mean by that? If what we say and thought actually manifested through the power and the focus, etc., would that be something that you would now pay attention to? Would you now be a little bit more careful if everything you said was a prophecy and no matter what, it would happen? Or, again, if everything you said is now a spell and it was going to happen no matter what, would you be a little bit more careful? Would you honor and respect yourself and others around you a little bit more if that's what it meant? So that's what I wanted to add to that, because to me, I just learned that, and that's really big, because I've said things before and I felt things before, and then all of a sudden I saw something tragically happen, and I was like, wow, I really, really need to get a grip and watch myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, this is how big this is.
I always look at it as like spiritual process is kind of like, it's almost like growing up, right? And so start to think of the things, if you had a mother figure that, was really pressing or really was like, security, they were trying to keep you safe. They probably would have been hitting on a lot of the things that you eventually learn with spirituality, like watch your mouth, be careful what you wish for. Some of these like very simple concepts that were just like, yeah, whatever, end up being like very tried and true, because without the awareness, it's like whatever. You might stub your toe and then be like, oh, damn it, I'm an idiot, and everything never works out for me, and this day is probably going to go you start almost like going in this feedback loop of like going into like the doubtingness, the lower vibrations, the lackness of life, right? Whereas when you reach this awareness, now you start programming for the best. Like, I think the other day I was like, I said, the F word, and I was like, oh, fuck. And I was like, why am I doing that still? I should be like, oh, love, like with that's a trigger from like something that happens, but I can program something different. I can program a different reaction into that. And that's what it is. It's like finding different ways to look at things with a different light every time, now, because you have that presence. You're not going to just go down to the lower vibrations right again. And this is a little bit more content on this throat chakra. And these are all things that are all focused on to help cleanse, to help remove any blockages that might be stopping you from moving through this step. So if you're having difficulty, or if you feel you want to add some things right away to the process, read the page. There's a bunch of stuff here that you can go ahead and start trying. Here's some more information on this throat chakra. And if any of you guys want some of this content after, message me and I can send you this content directly after you. I can send you the slides. But here's a great one that, you guys can write down and have together. It's the throat chakra. So why don't we practice speaking through the throat chakra? That's like very, very intuitive. That's where you're going to gain a lot of this. So humming or chanting, ham.
And in the South, we like to say ham. Yeah.
And this is really interesting too, because, this is something that people tend to say in like success and different personal development journeys. But, you start saying, I am. This is a great time to start saying, I am this. I am so-and-so. I am wealthy. I am valuable, because it's meaningful now. You've gone through and you have the connection, and that stuff's going to really charge well. Whereas if you're using that statement on some of the lower steps, like, I'm a millionaire, it's like really like not as fulfilling, as it might be now. Now with this connection, with this clarity, you might be like, I am a millionaire, like woof, and then you might feel some really good stuff filling. So, and again, now that you have this confidence build up, you're going to start being able to honestly and authentically start saying thank you to life. And I would say start finding more ways to say thank you to all the littlest things, you know. Try and be like a very older religious lady that just God is in everything. Every time she sees something, she's like, oh, bless you. Oh, bless that. Oh, that's beautiful over there. Oh, that's beautiful over there. Like you just start to be like very divine in like what you're seeing and stuff like that. You're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Oh,
That's
thank you
clarity,
for this.
brother. That's clarity.
Yes, and it's clarity. You start having eyes for the gifts, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to train you guys to have, because when you start this process, you have eyes for the faults in everything. Like that's why it's like this repetitive loop of all that happening. But slowly you start to see that there's so many gifts in this life, and you start to train, you know, on maybe more of a scientific level. If you're more of a scientific person, you know, it's your REI, your reticulating activating system, your RAC. You know, and that might be tied to intuitiveness and soul and body. But through science, there's like, if you see a blue car, you want to buy a new car, you start seeing that blue car everywhere and stuff like that, you know? So there's definitely some stuff tied to that. Everyone knows that feeling of when you want something or you go and look for something new, it starts popping up everywhere. That's a lot of what this process is doing on like a logic level, if you want to look at it. It's finding more ways to look at things in a better light. And then so you start noticing things in better light all the time. You stop noticing all people's faults. You stop noticing all the problems. All you notice are results and solutions all the time. And then so you become like just really valuable in that sense. And that's one way of like logically explaining this, but there's also lots of energetic things happening that's helping you along the way here. Sing to yourself. And even if you want to just like sing your daily habits, be like, I'm brushing my teeth. I'm washing my hands. Yes, and yeah. My body. And you can turn everything into this almost like, you know, very, very apostle, very like thing like that. But it's fine. And, you know, and someone might tell you to shut the heck up. And then he's telling me to shut the heck up. And, you know, and then you can stop because, you know, you don't want to not have zero friends, but you know, you have a little laugh or whatever like that, but find more ways to do stuff like that. It's fun. And that laughing too, that laughing and making fun of yourself, and like that's opening up the chakra too all the time with that. Drinking plenty of clean water. If you don't have clean water, go to a well. Go just away from like any types of bottled water in stores. It's all going to be acidic. Even if they say it's alkaline, it's not. It's just not that. They don't have the level of production. That stuff sits on the tarmac and it just gets filled with plastics and toxins. Try and start drinking out of more glass bottles over plastic bottles. Like, be conscious that there is other impurities like all over your life like that. And if you, not to say that we need to be living in a bubble, but if there's something that you don't need no more and you notice that it's not fulfilling you, like, poof, done. There you go. Move along. Like, you know, like that. Eating more foods that are going to charge the chakra. And I'm like very in this area right now too. Is interesting because I was getting into a lot of these foods already and getting into more like that fruits and stuff like that too and stuff. I'm finding that's like a common thing here is the color, but also that like fruit, really like sour tart type of taste like that, right, Jeremy? Am I correct? That's kind of the correlation I'm seeing here like that. Some herbs that you can add into herbs and essential oils. You can get it through both places through this. And some crystals to add into the mix to have around with you in your meditations. And like, if it's going to add to even if you don't believe completely yet, that's okay. But if it's just going to add, and if it adds color to your life and if it makes things look cool, like, why not? Like, these things are only going to benefit you by adding these to your process. I did this personally, just recently because I was going through this, and we'll add that in the testimonial phase. But if you need to laugh hysterically at something that you just did, or if it's just this overbearing frustration, which you guys, honestly, we're going through this process, but I even had something recently where it was overbubbling frustration and I didn't judge myself for it. What did I do? I literally went into the back part of the building and I just screamed as loud as I can, just like all of it out. And after like all of it was out, I was like, I think that was needed for whatever reason. And then learning now it is like, you know, a lot of this stuff can help that process along. And so spending time in silence after maybe doing some incredible screaming might help you like really integrate it all into like being like, okay, everything's not that bad. I still got this. I'm feeling good energy now, and then so it's like, it's definitely that ebb and flow. So if you need to go to one extreme so that you can feel that extreme presence again too, it works in mysterious ways. Get a neck massage. That's my last one. That's like, there you can do, that's a good transmission from self-love into alignment. Go and get a neck massage. It's self-love type of thing. You're doing something good for you, and it's going to loosen up those muscles and open up that stuff and make you way more able to receive. So that's a quick little workshop portion. There's obviously so much information on this stuff online, and so much stuff that you guys can start diving into that's maybe more personalized to you. And that's why we don't like to keep this too much, because this is information that everyone most likely already knows, or they could research and find it right away. We want to bring you some stuff that we feel is our specialty and our special dose, our special dash that makes this all work and all click really easily for everyone. So that was the workshop portion. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we're going to get more into now. We're going to get more into the can you stay in alignment anyways. And Jeremy, this is where I'm going to pass it off to you. Depending if he even wants to. He looks, I thought you were still getting massaged. I was like, maybe he doesn't want to jump in quite yet.
Well, why are we teaching this if we don't do it?
Yeah, dude, I was going to be like, frick, that looks good. So, but yes, Jeremy, can you be in alignment anyways? What exactly does that mean?
Well, where it came from with me was the second part to everything. So the first part, I lost everything. And I kept hearing, can you be happy anyways? And I was like, yeah, but, it was awful. Homeless, divorce. You've heard my story. You know what I went through, and I was just having all these horrible things happen. That was the dark night of the soul, or what I call the purge. I was removing all of my old vibration, all my old energy. And now I had to create and remove that old momentum, so that now that I'm awake, what am I doing with that now? So can you be happy anyways was the first thing. So then once I had gotten enlightened and I started living and going through these, getting these steps and practicing them, I got to step 4 and I had to repeat everything. And it liked to kill me. I was like, I don't want to have to go through all that crap again. But you have to, and you're going to. It doesn't matter if it takes you 100 lifetimes, you're going to. So might as well do it now. We might not be able to get you all the way enlightened, but we will be able to at least shorten that path. That's the big thing about this is, so anyways, so what it meant to me was I was in that fire again. I thought I got enlightened. I thought I was through the fire. No, I'm just now able to go through the fire for real. So then I could there was this moment and I was meditating. And what it looked like to me was I saw God's hand, and I know God isn't personified or human or anything like that. But he is so big, it is so big that it comes to us in a way that we can relate at that moment, okay? So at this moment, I saw it, his, her, all, just everything's hand, okay? Just bear with me. And so I saw the hand, and I tried to put my hand in it, and I was like, oh, there was just so much resistance. And I was like, please, come on! And I nicked it, and I knew there was hope. Just like that woman who touched Jesus's garments. She just had to get there, and she would be healed. Just let me touch him. And he said, who touched me? And they're like, we all touched you. He says, no, somebody took some of my essence. And I felt that. And he looked and he saw her. And so that was kind of how I was. And I just nicked his hand. And then just because I nicked it, I was able to put my hand in it. And so I was in the fire 7 times hotter. But I finally was able to put my hand in the Creator's hand. And I said, I don't ever want to leave this. And then this is where this message came from. And this whole huge lesson is, can you stay in alignment anyways? It's the same thing as the first lesson, but a higher and deeper degree. Yes, I can just be happy. Let it burn. Who gives a shit? But then it's like, while you're burning, can you be in alignment, walking with the Creator, no matter what happens? After that, tell me, people, what else is there that takes care of everything? So that's what it looked like for me. That's why this is the second part. It's taken us going through step 1, 2, and 3 twice just to get to self-love, just to get to this moment. Because that's how much doubt and suffering and disbelief and hurt and suffering that we've all carried without knowing what to do with it.
That's amazing, bro. Yeah, and I think the best way and the one way that I've learned the most is obviously from sitting and listening with Jeremy. I'm just noticing, I don't know if it's coming onto my face, but if you guys can hear me, it's Brody. And so what the cool thing is by learning, you know, you learn from the kind of like the 4-minute mile thing. If you guys don't know the story about the 4-minute mile, for however long, no one could do, you know, a mile in 4 minutes. And then once that individual did it, people started doing it all around the world, right? And so once you see the actualization or the realization of it being possible, it just makes you that much stronger in yourself to be like, I can do this for myself. And so for this steps exclusively, and maybe we'll start incorporating more of this type of teaching in the future, but we want to give people's actual real testimonials of them going through this step. And then you can maybe correlate that, move that down, you know, add that into your process and see, or maybe it happens to you and now you have this insight. You'd be like, oh, this is so similar to Amber. This is so similar to Jeremy. This is so similar to Esteban, Brody, Amy, whoever's process like that. I think it's really powerful. So Amber, if you'd like, you can tell us and share with us whatever you feel intuitively right now. But I think a cool point too is maybe giving an example of like where you were in the fire and you stayed in alignment anyways. And if you don't have one off the top of the head, just share, you know, more essence of what moving through this step is and why you finally made your stand to be like, this is how I go.
Well, I guess I was just, you know, sick and tired of the suffering and stuff. So then I was like, I need to meditate and I need to figure this out. Like, how do I get past this? You know, like, just how do I keep moving forward? And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to take a page out of Jeremy's book and do another bath time meditation. So though, when I was in the bath and stuff, though, I put a wet washcloth over my face and I put all my chakra stones like down my body and stuff, and then just kind of sat there and worked through my energy doors for a couple of minutes. You know, I had some meditation music playing in the background and I was just working through my energy doors. And then it didn't really take all that long before I was like Rocket Man shooting up through the sky type of thing, you know, like just like I'm finding my higher self, like we're doing this now. And because that's where all the answers are, you know, reconnect with higher self and source, like you'll finally, you know, get unstuck, you know, from where you're stuck. So anyway, so I'm flying through the air. I come up on this like freaking cloud bank, you know, and of course, like it's not a cloud, it's a door, and it just like before I could even touch it, it opened on its own inward, and my higher self was like, hurry up, come on, like I've been waiting for you, come on, you're late. And I'm just like, I'm going. She's like, come on. She's just like, you know, like at first this is just like this bright, like all I can really say is like, when I saw her, it was just flashes, you know, of like light and energy and like a little bit of detail here and there. So like through these like flash images of what my eyes could interpret, she had like long blonde hair down to her waist, and it was like just in blue flames. And then the rest of her body was like clad in like this white armor, like white leather armor, and that armor was like in orange and yellow flames. So it was like blue, orange, and yellow. And then she had like this huge broadsword strapped to her back and stuff. But she's just like, let's go, come on, hurry. So like I finally get through the door and stuff, and like we come up on this like crazy dragon, and she's like, come on, hop on. And like the dragon was like crystal clear, kind of like a crystal, crystalline, like you could see through them and stuff. But then like as soon as my higher self jumped on the dragon took on like all of her details. So like the dragon had like blue flames coming out of its eyes and mouth and stuff, and the rest of it was kind of like a crystal, like see-through. It was like fire and smoke just kind of like moving underneath this dragon's skin, and you could see it. It was really crazy looking. Anyway, so we got on the dragon and stuff, and I was like, so where are we going? She's like, we're trying to find your inner child. It might take a minute, And so like we're flying around high and low, looking everywhere. We finally come across like this huge giant, and the giant is crying, and there's a lake of tears from where the giant's been crying, and she's like, there it is. It's like, I was like, where? She's like, it's in the lake. And I was like, okay. So we like then dive down into the lake on this dragon. And so we get underwater, and so the dragon's eyes are like friggin' like headlights, because the water was getting darker and darker. So it was just like blue lights shining everywhere in the lake. We get down to like the very bottom of the lake and stuff. And I find like my inner child just kind of sitting there like curled up, like, yo, what took you so long, Like, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, like I had to put you here to get through, the hard times and the journey that I had to go through. And now that we're, like through that journey and into our bliss mode, I can bring you back out again,
Mm.
And so she was like, okay. And I was like, come on, let's go. And she hopped on too. And then we all, took back off and stuff. And just, it was incredible. It was good. And then they told me that I had to freaking go back. I was like, no, I don't want to. I just want to stay with you guys a little bit longer. They're like, no, bye. And then like freaking threw my ass out the freaking door. I was like, and like when I came up out of my meditation, like all of my chakra rocks like fell off except for like 3. I think it was the red, the orange, and the blue, the third eye. And those were the 3 stones that stayed on. And I was like, well, are those the 3 that I need to work on, I guess? Or was that what the journey was all about?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's fear and your emotions, and then speaking your truth. Now that you've healed those moments and you found your true self, you're able to overcome fear and your emotions so that you can speak your truth. That's how beautiful this is.
That's what I was going to say, Amber. Yeah. Did you find a direct correlation to that happening, to some newfound confidence, some newfound clarity directly in your life after?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because I've had, some things from my past try to come up and drag me back down. And I'm like, I'm not that person. Like, I'm sorry if I hurt you or whatever, but like, I'm not that person anymore. And like, there's nothing that I can do or say to change how they feel about it. So then I was just like, please don't try to contact me again. Like, bye, Felicia.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it can't be like resolved because it's too stupid, or like, it's just like, well, like, I don't know, like that's just me saying like, yeah, you make mistakes, but like, don't judge me for it 5 years later or something, like let it go, move on, grow, learn,
Yeah, it's definitely a like, when you want to make that stand officially, when and it'll tie into my experience too as well, but it's like you got to almost make a stand where it's like, this is me and this is my journey that I'm on now. And I don't care what you care about, what the details or what the inner workings of it all is. That's very personal to me, and and that might be very personal to you. What I'm asking you is to support me, not what I'm doing and not all the things that, you know, you might find that are really scary or maybe not in your world or whatever. All I'm asking you is to support me. And in return, I'll support you in whatever you do. And it's a very direct transmission where it's like, if you can't make that correlation of just supporting me for me, then yes, I will have to move on to surrounding myself around people that just support me for me. And that's a very, like, very forgiving, very cleansing process in that. And they can be, it's not going to blow up into anything after that. It's just making a stand on, like, this is really important. And if you don't find it important, that's okay. But if you can't just at least support me for myself and who I was and what we've been through and our journey and everything like that, then yes, then no, then I guess that's it then. That's cool. And enjoy yourself and whatever like that. You know, that might be hard, but then you can clearly define in your mind that no, that person, they're not in it for the win with me. Yeah. That's okay then. That's okay. I don't need to invest a whole bunch of energy now that I thought I had to all the time now, if that's the case.
It's a stepping stone.
Yeah, totally.
For me, like, was the fact that ever since I met Jeremy, like, everything that has happened in the past it's like a story tale now. It's like fiction. Like, did that even really happen? You know, whose life was that? Ugh. You know, like.
Yeah, it's like you changed, bro, and it's like that's the point, man. We're supposed to change throughout life. We're supposed to grow, and it's like
hating me for being a caterpillar when I'm clearly a butterfly.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, bro.
Let me change.
Yeah.
Well, even Jesus, he had to leave his whole town because they're like, "Aren't you just some carpenter's boy?"
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "You just are so full of disbelief that I can't even work here."
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it seems sad, just like the divorce and stuff. It seems sad, but she couldn't go where I'm going. You know, but then it was like a relay and she handed it off. She did what she could. I got my children here. She broke me so much to where I found enlightenment. And then when, you know, I was able to love myself and understand and find who I am and get my vibrations up, then I didn't even find, but Amber just magically appeared. And then I got my truth. And then Brody appeared, and then now we're here, and now we're saving the world left and right. I mean, everybody goes through this.
Mm-hmm.
That's why this works, is because God said, whenever you're going through this, write this down. Everybody goes through this. That's what the 7 steps are. You're hearing from everybody what they're doing for everybody. And if my story wasn't so amazing, and my higher self and all my stuff wasn't so amazing, I'd be jealous AF of everybody else's story. Amber's story made me cry. It was so awesome. You have like armor and blue gold like hair and everything's on fire and you're like a Valkyrie and you have a freaking dragon and you're like flying through these oceans and stuff. Dude, that's awesome. All because of energy doors,
Mm-hmm.
flying, then meeting your higher self. That's what we practice.
Yeah. And I think that's a great way to tie into is like, I was going to do it more subliminally, you know, but there is going to be some core happenings or core things or practices that, you know, Jeremy started off by doing. That's the person that curated a lot of these from source and passed it down to us. You know, energy doors. We talked about that. That's the first meditation. And that's what I was doing consistently for a while. And I was getting really good at it, right? I was getting really good at it. I was even getting up. I met my higher self. I had a lot of good experiences up there, you know, messing around with the creator. But there was a lot of times where I'm like, oh, I'm so far. I shouldn't be here. You know, I shouldn't be here already. And then so that's doubt creeping in every time. And every time I happen, the vision or the things that it just wouldn't feel as right, you know? And so, you know, sometimes you only know what you know. And this is something very personal, is like even working through the steps and stuff, you know, it's easy to think that once you gain serenity that you're on enlightenment. You know, it's easy to like jump to conclusions with a lot of this stuff, right? And not work on some of the stuff that's still left to work on. And as I was working through my self-love chakra, I thought it was going to be a lot of like, oh, I should meditate more, or oh, I should go and get a massage, or oh, I should buy myself something nice and new, like self-love, you know, loving myself. But it was actually very interesting because I was like the first couple days, And then universally, God, source creator, started giving me opportunities where I was to test this now, where I was to test, are you going to love yourself? Or are you going to break down here? You know, are you going to, these are these tests. And then with that, you know, here's just something I wanted to share with you guys. So, I thought it was going to have to be certain scenarios where I'd have to go into meditation or I'd have to go and do this, but this is such a beautifully designed game. It's such a beautifully designed path and journey that those scenarios and those things that exactly what I needed to work on, they just kept happening in my life. Like, that's the beautiful thing. Like, it's not something you go do. Life happens, and then you have to receive, and you have to vibrate the proper thing that you chose to vibrate to. And so I had my brother, and you know, yeah, we work closely together in another project, and he was really getting really hard on me for spending lots of time over here in the Serenity Project. And, you know, he tried to check me, you know, he tried to reality check me. He's like, are you sure this is what you want to do? And started going down that path. You guys have all seen that type in a movie or whatever. It's like, that's not real. These things don't work, blah, 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 blah. What are you doing with your life? All that type of stuff. And that could be, that's not even maybe him. That's the energy or something like that trying to challenge me there, right? Do you want to come with this? You choose, that's your path of, you choose two roads at that path when that happens, you guys, right? Are you going to stick to, can I be happy anyways? Are you going to stick to, can I stay in alignment anyways? Are you going to now put on a frown and be like, you know what, man, screw you, screw that, you know, and like, blah, 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 you know, because that's what you're feeling energetically, right? No, you're going to go more into, it's a smile at first. And then you start to just really tune into the love, you know? And actually something that was really hard for me to do that is like when people challenge me, I would get very anxious and I'd be like, well, maybe it isn't the right thing. And then I'm vibrating fear, right? What do you think the next thing I'm going to say out of my mouth is? It's going to be abundance and love? No. It's going to be fear and lack. It's going to be like, and then I'm going to try and rationalize why I like it and why I'm doing it, which is bullshit, you guys. You shouldn't have to rationalize. You shouldn't have to explain to someone why you're doing something. You just are, and you're being it because you're happy and you love it. And can't you see? Like, you know, it's like that more thing where it's like, don't try and rationalize or do something that you already believe in yourself. And so that was something that I was struggling with, that belief in myself, that this process, that it's actually going to work out in the end. And it was because I was missing that connection of love. And without going too deep into it, but it had a lot to do with energy doors. It had a lot to do with deep meditation. And it had a lot to do with going in on that faith and feeling what that feeling of faith is. And that's really all I'm going to really say on that because it's more of an experience. But as being a very anxious person in my life, I used to shake lots. I used to really tune into fear and doubt really quickly. And through deep meditation, through connecting, going through energy doors, I started to really manifest what that feeling of love was. And once you start to get that experience of what it is, you know what lack is and you know what love is. And you know what? I've been doing deep meditation for quite some time now too, right? But it wasn't until I really started tuning into doing these deeper practices, staying in alignment anyways in my life, not just meditating and then going out into life and then just not remembering what I practice, right? It's this full, complete package of going through the doors, doing your deep meditations, and then practicing this stuff in the real life. Whether you do good with it or bad, whatever, like, you know, just make that point to practice. And through that, I had a deep session of meditation where finally my spiritual animal that I've been tuning into lots is very similar to Amber's, like a dragon like that. And it's been there helping me, guiding along the way. And it was just through this deep meditation, like I said, without going into too many details, I visualized my heart generator, my heart chakra, almost the dragon coming through, and almost like that infinity sign coming through and locking it in finally. And when it was like very visual to me, and this is why this was an experience, you guys, so words might be a little limiting, I felt that like energy of it being okay. I felt that energy of like faith and love and guidance and abundance locking in right at that same moment of that kind of that visualization of it happening. And whatever, you know, what that did for me is now I can actually really tune into what that feeling of love is whenever I'd enjoy to, whenever I like, or if I can tell very easily if I'm not tuning into that. If something slipped out of the way, once I remember, like I can feel like, holy crap, what's going on? Oh, right. You know, and then so that's why I'm saying it's more of an experience, but that's what happens out of these things, you guys. You gain newer tools, you gain newer perspectives that you never thought were possible. So even if you think that's out of your realm or out of the whatever and stuff like that, you only know what you know. But through these meditations, through these practices that we share with you, and by coming in and tuning into these sessions, it will naturally just keep flowing into you. And when you get that eureka moment, when you catch that next phase of enlightenment, it's going to feel absolutely incredible, because it's like finding something that you thought you'd never be able to get, or something like that, right? Very early on in the journey. But what we're trying to instill with you is that not only you're going to get it, you're probably in one of the best places to receive it in the quickest, most enjoyable, most amazing fashion. So just have faith in us, have faith in the process, and do the practices when it feels right. And if life is like causing you to do the practices, if you don't do them, life ends up forcing you into them. And it's like, I won't force you ever, but sometimes life will get so thick, it'll get so murky, it'll get so ugly that you're like, oh, what's so wrong oh, I haven't meditated in like a week. I've totally forgot what I learned on that last session. And it's not like a thing that you're wrong, but you gain the motivation now to be like, oh yeah, tonight after work, I know exactly what I'm doing when I get home. It's just like, because that's like the feeling that you would aspire for again, I guess. And that's my way of explaining it. It might be all over the place, but hopefully that helps you along with your journey.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Man, this has been great. This has been great. This is exactly perfect. I mean, with mine, there's just so much to say. Like, this is the step where enlightenment is possible. It's like you are in your higher self, and then you're in this body, and your body is now finally taking instructions from your higher self. It was like bucking you the whole time, and you were like whipping it. But now you're starting to do it in a loving, compassionate way. And then it's actually starting to listen. So then your body is in cooperation with your mind. Then that's when you can start listening to your instincts, because your mind is doing the thinking and your heart is doing the feeling, and you put those together, and then that's what you get as clarity. That's the next step. See, once you learn to love yourself and to be happy anyways at this high level, consistently, that's enlightenment. Mm-hmm. And then as you get enlightenment, then that's when you have to repeat everything. You're on this level 30, and you're going back and doing level 1, 2, 3, etc. stuff. That's where you get the victory. That's why the last step was so hard. That's why we had to do so much stuff to get there. But now, what are you going to do with the new you? And see, what it looked like for me is, and we're all talking about energy doors. What is an energy door? So when I was meditating, it was just what was given to me. This is what was given to me to deal with what I was going through, and it works for everybody. Some people say it was like these doors and they had red lasers and it was chopping all the stuff away. Some people said that it was like a yellow energy door, and it was like almost like butter, and you went through it and nothing could get through that wasn't pure, and you saw all this sludge behind you. Some said it was like this Resident Evil, these lasers where it cuts you and into little squares, and the only thing that could go through was what was pure. Well, what did yours look like?
My energy doors?
Yeah.
Well, it was more like swimming through water for me.
Nice. See? Okay, Brody, and you? What did your
mine went from, it's like, I like, that's cool that you brought those different things, and now I'm going to try some of those because those sound fun. But like, yeah, mine was almost like hitting a wall of energy, almost like wind or water. And when you hit it, it almost washes or cleanses you.
Yes.
Heavy or sludgy. And that gets like, you can almost visualize that getting carried back down to the ground with. And so this cleansing process, cleansing.
See, that's what this process is there are frameworks, checkpoints, and they look different for everybody, but it is a human checkpoint. So then as I got able to run through these energy doors, cut away all my garbage, then I just started flying. And then I went to the left, I went to the right, I went down, I went up, I went everywhere. I was like, where is everything? And so I saw everything. It was beautiful. I saw all the universes and the galaxies and the nebulas and the planets. And so then once I saw everything, I started going up again. It's all I knew to do, you know? And so I kept going up, and then all of a sudden one day I was like, boop, and I hit what I can only imagine is the floor of heaven or the ceiling of earth. There is that chasm. That's what we're trying to break, okay? And so then, you know, she saw it in clouds. I saw it as just, all I saw was a doorknob. Just in the middle of the sky, and there's a floating doorknob. How weird. Where are you going to go learn this stuff? This is, you see what I mean? This is crazy. There's a doorknob in the sky. Okay, so then, and like she said, her door opened as she went to go to it. My doorknob, as I turned it, it was turning for me, and it opened. Okay, so now let's stop real quick. Amber, what did your, after your energy doors, tell us again what it was like for you flying and et cetera. Remember?
Oh, for me, it was more like almost kind of like breaking the sound barrier, you know, like just sonic booming up there, you know, and that's why like when I hit the clouds and stuff, like they automatically just opened because I was going so fast. And it was like, hello.
So okay, see how awesome that is. And what about you, Brody? What did yours look like?
Totally, yeah. Like I took from it that the energy doors, it's like a momentum thing. It's like zoom, zoom,
Yeah.
zoom, zoom, zoom,
Yes.
zoom, 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 and then to this almost like very, very almost infinite, close to infinity level where you're like, "Whoa." And I was
Yes.
going up, and like from listening to Jeremy and stuff, his experience, yes, mine was more like a door, and it was almost like I hit, and yeah, coming through, but very, very right away, it was like a warm feeling of being within something, within a newer place or a newer happening. And that's where it's like very right away to the left. To the left always seems like something where it's like, that's where I was visualizing more of my higher self. And that's where I like was pulled to go, so to speak, in that sense. And yeah, and without getting too far into it, that's where I was like introduced to my higher being. And it was really like this really almost like very, very similar to the inner child where it's like, dude, I'm here. And it's like this huge hug and this huge, just almost like, you know, that's the first time you've given presence to actually meeting and, you know, enjoying, you know, it's like seeing an old friend after not ever, like, you know, knowing of this friend from a long time ago and thinking you know him, maybe a distant family member that you never met, and then but like meeting them for the first time. And then this friend is like not only your best friend, but like it's the closest, most, you know, it's your higher self. Like, you know, so it's
you.
Mm-hmm.
You're you in this body that's trying to listen to you. So what it looked like for me is once I finally opened that door, I had this giant arm and it was all dark. And I was like, this doesn't seem right. But then all of a sudden, out from the back come this gigantic, just like muscular, beautiful, like golden being. He's like, look at us, bro. You found it. You've done it. You're here. And then he turned on the lights. And then I was like, okay, this is everything I expected. And then as I progressed and I saw everybody. I saw your mom, your dad, everybody. I saw, you know, all sorts of people, the ancestors, the ascended masters, angels. I saw them all. It's all real. And so then we went and opened up the door to the throne room because it says to come boldly before the throne. And we went, and I went before everybody, and I was like, thank you so much. I'm sorry it took me so long. And thank you for having me. Thank you for always being there, even though I didn't even know you were there. If you have stuff to do, go do it. If you want to stay and help, then stay and help. Okay, so that's getting what this next step is. See, you guys have just now, and that's what the biggest thing I want the takeaway is can you stay in alignment anyways? And then have you met your higher self yet? And because when you meet your higher self, it changes. It's changed 3 or 4 times for me. I keep going through these energy doors. I keep going up. I keep flying. I keep going through the door. I keep meeting. And so the last time I was like this electric teal blue, and it was so amazing. And that was like me being more of me. And then I met it again, and then I was like completely white with like purple eyes. And then it's like now I've actually had more room where I'm not just sitting in this little room. Now, in a not creepy way, it's almost like the old movie The Cell. I'm sitting on a throne with this like rainbow like cloak that is like the walls, and I'm next door to the mother and father. Excuse me. See, this is that throat chakra saying stuff that's tough. So then, like the Heavenly Mother, Heavenly Father sitting there ruling and reigning over the cosmos, and I'm right next to them, mimicking and doing the same thing. This is huge. This. I don't think that's ever been said before. We are in king and queen training. You're just not. This is huge. I'm telling you. So that's what it looked like to me, and that's only part of it. And so the whole practice is to get through there, get to the Creator, and sit as much as you can.
Yeah, and that's where it's like sitting, like where Jeremy said this in the past, where it's like sitting and getting closer to the Creator. It's building that relationship, you know, and one of the best ways to build that relationship with your higher self, with the Creator, with Source, is by silence and removing all the distractions around you. And so if you're kind of like, maybe, you know, I think everyone's gone to the level where they appreciate and they're motivated to get into their meditative sessions. Maybe it doesn't happen as often as they'd like, but they're motivated. But really, what meditation is desensitizing yourself to everything else that's around you at the moment. And so if you do it with music lots, if you do it with stuff, like try just desensitizing yourself to everything. And that's where the underwater meditation takes it to another level, because now you're underwater. And if you ever experience that feeling of being underwater, it's almost very close to being, even though you don't experience it, it's almost like being in a womb. You know, there's not a lot of light. There's not a lot of distractions. There's almost some pressure on you as well, too. You're almost mimicking some very, very, like, where you were before you came here.
Primitive,
you know,
yes.
Pre-human type of thing. So that's what's going to get you closer to a lot of those experiences, a lot of those feelings.
That's the thing. There's no escape.
Mm-hmm.
When you're just sitting here and you close your eyes, you can just open your eyes and you're in a different place again. But if you're underwater and you're holding your breath and all that pressure and you hear that wow, 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 and your heartbeat and you're in that, like you said, I love that womb, and you have that pressure and then that fear, and then you work through fear. Because the best way to work through fear is to practice it before it happens.
Mm-hmm. In present.
That's why we had those 3 fear meditations where I was at the bottom of the ocean and I had to sit there. And then I was in that box buried alive. I had to sit there. And then I was in a cave buried and I had to sit there. Now here is something new. On the other aspect, I'm always meeting the fear and overcoming fear. That's the masculine side. Well, here's the feminine side. And this is something very special and sacred. And it was, instead of coming to me with fear, come to me with your bliss. And so I had to think of 3 things that I feared, but that I loved so much. And so if you guys remember, on that cruise, I saw that orange shark. So I thought of that orange shark because that was just the presence of God. And then the next one was Amber. You know, I saw the Black Panther, which is my spirit animal, and that was her tattoo. And so it was like the Matrix is like follow the white rabbit, but in Black Panther form. So that was very special. And then when my dad died, I was outside and there was like that 4-foot tall hawk just sitting next to me. And I took a video for like 5 minutes. And so that was my 3. So then I had to think of the 3 fears. Then I had to think of the 3 blisses. And then now I'm putting them all together at a whole new level. Because here's the things that I did underwater. And this is deep stuff. I went first, right hand masculine. Then I finally learned the feminine, and I would go left hand feminine. Okay, because your left side is your past and the feminine. Your right side is your masculine and your future. Okay, And so now what I'm doing, and these hand motions are called mudras. And so now what I'm doing is I take the left and I think of all my bliss, my feminine, and then I take my right and I think of all my fears, the strong, the masculine, and now I put them both together and put them together, and I go under as a blessing, as like a reverence, as a worship. And so then when I need stuff, I'll go both sides like this because I'm like praying. That's when I need stuff. And then I'll go here that I'm accepting it, believing, and here I'm receiving it, and I know it's all well. And then here I'm just thankful. And then I go back to here under, and I just stay thankful and grateful. I already have it. It's already here. I'm with all aspects of God. I'm all the way everything. You know, and so that's some of the new. That's what these deep practices are about. And you're just now able to hear them because you've just now opened yourself up to love. You've gotten out of the 3 bottom chakras, and now you're into the top 3 through that middle one, the gap, the bridge of love. So once you're in alignment, spirit, mind, and body, and everything's firing on all cylinders, and you can hear and listen and see and feel, and all the dormant powers that you have are now being practiced and opened, that's what leads to the clarity in the divine connection, the divine guidance. And then when you have the clarity and you're able to see that all that, you have that divine wisdom, and that's the bliss. And as you have the bliss, then you can see, then you can speak your truth through the whole world. Then you can love more. Then you can love yourself more, control yourself more, and fear less. That's one revolution. We're almost there. We're at step 5. Next is the clarity. Next is the wisdom and the happiness and the bliss. Bliss is just happiness on another level. So once you've had serenity and joy and happiness consistently, no matter what, through all the fires, that's enlightenment. Then you do that on a whole nother level. You stay at bliss through the fire, no matter what, hand in hand with Source. That is enlightenment mastery. That is what the Serenity Project is bringing all of humanity to, so that we can love each other, work well with one another, not have anything holding us back because of control or systems or fear. And then we love everybody, no matter what we look like, no matter what we do, and everything is in alignment, everything is in divine guidance, everything is in bliss, and then that is what we all want. That's why you're here, and then that's why we're doing this, period. And so it is. Woo!
Woo!
That's what it feels like to speak your truth, baby. You feel this? Look, I was choking to death. I went and got a drink, and now I'm reinvigorated, and now I'm nice and just lubricated, and I can just go forever.
Dude.
Just nothing but love and truth and clarity and peace and abundance and love and love and love.
And so, dude, I think this is beautiful because we've gone through the recap. We've gone through this entire step. We gave some testimonials. We gave some personal experiences. And really, Jeremy just gave you the full opus of what this all means and why maybe if it's not that important yet, why it might build to be more of an importance of your life. And that's first, and I'll share some from me. It took some time to build this momentum. But as I build more momentum, I get more passionate. I get more motivated because I see how much goodness and how much happiness this truly can bring. It's not just saying like, want world peace. No, like I have scaled out methodologies to scale this out to wherever. So all we just need to be people is just to continue practicing being good and tuning into the clarity and finding their passion, finding their passions, connecting it to a purpose. And then when everyone's connected to their passion and their purpose through this almost divine, very divine way, everyone's going to be in the spot that they want to be in. And then we're going to be very harmonious in that. So I think this will be a great time to bring this to a conclusion. And you know, you already probably have some thoughts or some things that you want to go out and try right away. Well, then we'll give you this time and this space now to go and put these things in to practice right now. And this is just the beginning of this step throughout this month. This is almost like the workshop in itself, and there's going to be more actionable items that we release throughout the week. I think a cool one we'll be releasing the underwater meditation PDF if anyone has missed that, and maybe we'll do a short little 5-minute video on what to do, you know, just again, or maybe I'll scrub it out of this video that we did because we gave you a good explanation here as well. But then also we're going to do something called the reality check. You know, once you start speaking your truth, maybe you don't know exactly what your truth is yet, you know, and that's probably where you're at the moment. So I've designed some assignments that are super easy. It'll take you 2 pieces of foolscap and maybe 5 or 10 minutes of your time. And you're going to get a very clear idea from like an energetic higher self type of way of what you are, who you want, and what you don't want. And when that's clear, now you'll start noticing those things in your life, that reticulating activating center that I was talking about. You're going to start choosing the things you want and start forgiving and cleansing the things that, you know, we're repeating in your life all the time. But now with this newfound, can you be happy? Can you be in alignment anyways? You're going to start cleansing those things that are maybe heavy, not serving you no more out of your life. And that process of adding what you want and cleansing and forgiving the stuff that you don't want, like that's what we're all in right now. And this is just taking that on the next level, and it's going to be faster than you've experienced before. Things are going to come quicker, but it's going to start with you deciding, getting motivated to join in and jump into one of those practices, whichever one you're tuning into, whichever one you feel that is your next step right now.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Some of the stuff that is coming up, like you were talking about, is the Spiritualpreneur program. What are you going to do with the new you?
Right.
Now that you're going to have your truth, and it doesn't matter if you're not all the way here yet. The reason why, you know, like we said, is we're blasting through it, and you can get strong enough to go back to it when you're ready. And so now this is where you can actually start having your truth, and you can actually start having that Reiki YouTube business, or, you know, the healing practice, or, you know, now that you know what you want, now that you can start teaching. Now you have a platform you can start joining and actually giving value. Or you're at a job that you already like and now you do it better, and now that you already have money, now you can actually appreciate it and enjoy it. You know, we have from people that have nothing and are working their way up from step 1 up. And then we have people that are at step 7 working their way back down so they can work their way back up. This is the revolution. It just keeps going up and down, and you keep going into these degrees, this upward spiral. And so that's that Spiritualpreneur. We'll get you into what is it that you want to do. We'll help you build the programs and the platforms. That's what we're here for. Contact us. Get with us. We're already best friends. Okay? We're already
creating systems for some of our members. We're already moving that.
Doing it.
Yes.
Exactly.
So if you have that idea already, we'll start fueling that. We'll start getting that.
Yes, let's start building.
That might be why you're getting hung up. Sometimes if we're waiting to do something that we really, really deeply want to do, that can be an amazing block. That can be a huge blockage for you to be able to move past the next step.
Yeah. And so then what we'll even do before that is something we're going to start releasing, and contact us about this, like Brody was saying, the reality check. We got this divine just inspiration to create what life is broken down to in 4 quadrants. Where are you at with your relationships, with your money, with your health, with your job and your family, etc.? And then, are you healthy? Are you wealthy? Are you happy? Are you with the people you want to be with? Let's find on that scale.
And how this works is, like, we sometimes say stuff from our past that's not even our past, or that wasn't even real. We start recreating our stories from the past. Lots of times this has happened throughout your life. You'll say one story one way, and it's called like the telephone game. It ends up being told
so that you keep hurting.
Yeah, and then you might adjust it, or you might do it certain different ways. But until you take a very visual look of where you're at on the map, so to speak, with the different categories, it might be the first time that you take notice of what exactly it is that you want to start working at. And I know it seems so simple, it seems so whatever, but everyone's in a very repetitive feedback loop right now. And if we don't break the feedback loop and show you and give you a clear idea of who you are or where you want to go, you'll keep going down wherever this feedback loop.
Autopilot.
It will. It just is the
Beautiful.
way we work.
Yes, and so these are some of the extracurricular things that we're doing to really find where you're at, find where you want to go, and let's go! What are you waiting for? You're here. We're here. We have it. We have the connections. If we don't, we'll get them. You know, the more you are, the more you want, the more we are, and the more we'll go with you. We are the hub. We are the go-to guys. You know, and you're part of that. Everybody here, Quantum, is a part of that. This, you know, what all this is going to build out to is these are the buildings and the skyscrapers that we love that say serenity, not all this other stuff, polluting, marketing garbage. All this is just going to be organic. It's just going to be so beautiful. You're going to have your own businesses doing your own thing, transcending this whole system to where the system is the thing of the past. We're not through violence and revolution, but by growth. And the growth is you have a baby who just shits all over itself and doesn't know any better. That's what we have right now. But do you stay that way? What changes? You grow up, you're taken care of, and you learn. And then, do you shit on yourself anymore? No! What's the difference?
This is going to be
the Trinity Project difference.
like, obviously education is going to play out as education has always been, but what we truly believe and what I truly believe is like this is the next level of education that everyone's really, really yearning for right now. It's the emotional side of the aspects that where all we've taught people is all the logic, all the mathematics, it's the science.
Memorization, cookie cutter.
It's no one's fault, but if you actually look back on a thing of time, it comes back to Plato, it comes back to Socrates, it comes back to the people that, when we started creating Western culture, and we started creating schools and our curriculums, we took all of this logic and all this like basically minus and positive, create work. That's how we do all these things, like, you know, and then so it created all this. But really when it comes down to it is all we just did is we stopped growing, you guys. We stopped tuning into this stuff anymore, or it was forgotten. And now that with connection with internet and everything, it's just now becoming more of a buzz. And you're getting the buzz thing way, way before it's even buzzing. Like you'll see stuff like this, you'll see colleges like this, you'll see whatever version of it is, they'll be popping up all over, and these will be actual like full-on establishments, increasing people's emotional IQ, helping them wash their emotional hygiene so they can act in their truth, so that they can act with purpose and passion. And you're just really, really on the close leading edge of all of this, of what everyone is asking for right now. This is what people are asking for, you guys.
Yeah. Answers, coping mechanisms, real abilities and techniques to make it through. School, all it does is teach you memorization. What we need to incorporate the and more philosophy, where we're teaching all these extra things and supplementing what maybe parents don't have time for. And then maybe we build this so much to where the parents do have time. See, we can fix everything.
This is what's happened, you guys. This is what's happened. We've been creating education and training, and essentially our whole opus of what life's about doesn't include the soul aspect. Yet we include soul in music, we include in whatever. Or you might actually even think in school that, yeah, no, I do have a soul. But where does the class about it, you guys? It's not there. Yeah. And that's okay. That's why this is here. And this might eventually be the class or whatever it looks like, whatever we need to do to make sure that this information is in the hands of humanity so that we can all harmoniously really create a beautiful song in the end. That's what my vision of what it's going to be like. You know, that might seem like it's really, in my eyes now, it's the only way that things would work if everyone tunes into this. Once you're in love, you're not in fear, you're not in doubt, you're not controlling, you're not stealing, you're not taking things from people. You're only going to be benefiting them. If you work out the equation on that, it equals amazingness. It equals harmonious connection.
It equals paradise, baby.
It paradise.
You nailed it. You nailed it. Thank you. What else can be said? It's finally here. Yes, it's new. Yes, we're growing, but it's finally here.
Yeah, and I just kind of had this kind of like, if someone asks you what's changed or what's different, be like, all I've done is I've added soul to the equation.
Yeah.
That's all it is. We're now learning about this other new variable that was never added to the equation. And without it, the equation is incomplete. It essentially comes out the wrong,
Incomplete.
Incomplete. That's a better way to put it. So now with this variable, this new unknown that is added to the equation, we're working on all these amazing other possibilities that are now possible with it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's exactly right. Whew. Great job. This has been beautiful. I feel like, we've said everything. We went through the fear, we went upstream, we repeated, we beat it, we loved it, we showed ourselves compassion, we've opened up our heart and mind circuit. Now we're opening up the spirit, mind, and body circuit. Now everything's connected. Now we're getting that divine connection. Now we're getting that bliss. Now paradise is just right there, and you're coming with me. I'm going with you. And all it is just spreading. Love is spreading. That's all this is. We've seen everything that we don't want. Now we're trying to focus on what we do want because we're sick of the stuff that we don't want. Simple. I got tired of shitting on myself. So I quit. So I created a toilet. So I created walking. So I created clothes. So I create, you see? It's all this. If we're tired of shitting on ourselves, let's come together, let's clean ourselves up, and let's do something better.
And then Jeremy shared this as all. It's not like you need to be like some person where like this is the way you need to go and this is like I've said like we just need a show with Ricky Lake on it telling people how it is and how it isn't. But like that's just kind of like my joke. But like obviously people would have a lot of resistance to that. All we're doing, you guys, and this will happen with a lot of people in your life, work on yourself. Become this high vibrating being, go through the work yourself. And when you're at that point, you're going to just be the shining high vibrating light that people are going to notice that that's just the better option. It's not the fact that you're trying to force people into this stuff. They're just going to see the manifestations. They're going to see this and they're going to start asking you questions on like, how'd you do it? And you can be like, you know what? I added soul to the equation. The best way to do that, Serenity Project. It's free. Go check it out. And this is something that we're going to be releasing here as well. Essentially we want everyone to have Serenity in their back pocket, and we're coming out with some new stuff eventually. Obviously we're going to go through the full 7 steps, but this is going to be something where, we don't want you to have to go in through all these explanations. We don't want you to have to go through the work. We're going to have almost like, if you want your personalized business card that just says Pain to Paradise, I don't know exactly how I did it, but these guys will show you step by step. You're going to have that in your tool belt. So now, whether it's in your business or whether it's your family or with your life, now you essentially have the answer to help anyone out there suffering or struggling. And you don't have to get into some deep, long-winded conversation. I met my higher self, and then this happened, because we all know where that conversation most likely will go. It'll go to the disbelief and doubt. No, you're just passing out this gift of love out to people. And that's what our vision with this is. It's just going to be a gift that people can, catch on the sidewalk. They see it on a bus. They do it, whatever. And that's how they find it. It's going to be very organic. And it's going to start with us.
Yeah, it's got to start somewhere. So what do you want to do, Brody? We've said everything that there needs to say.
I want to go and try out some of this new that I learned on this, man. That's what I want to do right now.
Yeah. So let's go try out some of this new. See, the whole step 4 was all about letting you fly on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And so this step now, we need to have like just an open sesh to see what it was like for you flying.
Yeah. And I'm down to have like an open group sesh. This is kind of just really intuitive like this, but like next Saturday around the same time.
Let's do it.
For people that connect this, we maybe won't put out a whole bunch of announcements and stuff like that until the closer to that date. But just know that we're going to do a team meeting like this, and you're going to be able to express, because we've been on for an hour and 20 minutes. And obviously the questions come after you put it to practice. So once you put it to practice, you're going to have some new to ask us. And let's meet up next week. And let's have that transmission.
I love that so much. That's so perfect. Yeah, let's not take it too far. We've given our examples. Now let's see your examples, and then there's the new leading edge.
Yes.
That's where we have to meet. That's our next meeting. So thank you guys. I've had the best time ever. these have been, it's only going to get better. The first 3 were tough, and we went through them twice. The step 4 was hard AF. Holy crap balls.
And we didn't warn anyone. And we didn't warn a single person.
No, because you have to fly. That's where we get the new. That's why it was so hard. We didn't abandon you. We wanted to see where you were at. Are you applying this? Are you listening? Are you investing in yourself and in every way? We want to see who's really ready, because this is the steps where you've had enough badges and this and that. It's time for enlightenment. Are you up to the plate? Are you ready? Because this is where it happens. And we need to find those who are ready and who are at that level. Because for this organization to grow, we're looking for 12. On top of me and Brody, we're looking for 12 strong, loving individuals that can help us build this out. It's already being all built. We have all the tools, but we need some of you. And these are where these sessions are going to come in. Let's hear your experience, see what this has done for you, and then that's what you show others. We'll give you everything, and then that's where I take my light and I enable your light to shine, then you enable others' lights to shine. So that's where this is going.
Yeah, beautiful. Dude, this has been amazing.
It has.
I think everyone's filled right to the tippity top. Like we said, we're going to have the question and answer period next Saturday. And if you do have any questions and you're not able to make it, you can direct message those to us, and we'll go over those on the recording, and then you can watch it on the recording. You see where I'm getting with this. But yeah, we'll make sure that everyone's questions are answered, and they get their solutions, they get anything like that. But for right now, I think this is a good time limit to just go, and we'll do what we do. Do what you want to do it with love, stay guided, and really, really appreciate this process because it's so beautiful.
Yeah. Go and practice the practice.
Mm-hmm.
Then it becomes a lifestyle, and then we're all in paradise. That's how this works. Thank you all for being here. We love you. It's not just words. We're spending time and energy and focus on you. God is moving mightily through us. So much love. Many blessings. And Namaste.
Namaste.